The new wave of professional wrestling, Capital Wrestling.
This should have been it. Our story should have concluded. The guy that wasn't supposed to be here rises up the ranks in a year, and now I'm the guy. I'm the leader here at Capital Wrestling. And my big moment, me beating Paul Jourdain for this belt, gets taken away from me by some prepubescent teenager, Ken Dixon. Because it has to always be about him, right? Because that's how it was in the beginning. Well, when I came in, I said I was going to change all this shit up. And that's exactly what I did. And you can't handle it anymore. I hear you walking around, talking all this trash, being in the ring, on camera, on the internet. Tonight, you step into my orchard. And when you step through those ropes, you better realize child's play is over. How do you like them apples?
The following contest is your main event of the evening. It is a singles match scheduled for one fall and is for the Capital Wrestling Heavyweight Championship.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Capital Wrestling, to a great event, the main event tonight, an episode that you don't want to miss. It's been months in the making.
A match 5 months in the making finally happens as Ken Dixon, the Dark Heart himself, takes on the Bad Apple, Macintosh, finally one-on-one.
Oh, that's right. And here we see Ken Dixon, the Dark Heart. And finally, after so much trash talking, the meme wars, as everyone talks about.
The great Capital meme war.
The Capital meme war. Going back and forth, the jaw-jacking on the internet, mostly from Ken Dixon's side. Now they settle in the ring here. Now the time for talking is done, and Matt Macintosh, it's his opportunity to prove that he is the man here at Capital Wrestling. Ken Dixon, of course, ruining the championship victory when Matt Macintosh defeated Paul Jourdain.
Attacking Paul Jourdain after with that plastic bag.
You gotta wonder.
Sadistic attack.
But you gotta wonder if that had anything to do with Paul Jourdain at all. Or was it a message to the new champion, Matt Macintosh? And Matt Macintosh, of course, furious that Ken Dixon would steal the moment he worked so hard for. You talk about months in the making. For Macintosh, it was years in the making. But will his first title defense be his last, Steven?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Capital Wrestling Championship action. When we come back, we'll have our official introductions. Are you in need of a lawyer who will fight for you? Well, EDA Law will go off the top rope for you and your needs. Pro wrestling veteran Eric Anderson has brought his no-nonsense approach from the ring to the courtroom. The New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Famer and his team focuses on business law, criminal defense, and representing members of the pro wrestling industry. For more information, head on over to edalaw.com. That's edalaw.com. EDA Law, for those in the law who wrestled, know how to wrestle the law.
This week's edition of Capital Wrestling Television is brought to you by the home of the Capital Wrestling Podcast, the El Toro Podcast Network. Whether it's Capital Wrestling, the world of professional wrestling, or the world of informational technology, El Toro's Podcast has you covered. Follow them on Twitter at El Toro's Podcast, or subscribe right now on Google Podcast, SoundCloud, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher Radio, Podbay FM, or on Apple Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Capital Wrestling. I'm Stephen James, being joined by Mr. Entertainment, Harry Tujanian.
And how lucky you are to tune into a championship match. The Capital Wrestling Championship is on the line as the Bad Apple himself, Matt Macintosh, makes his first title defense against the former champion, Ken Dixon.
Telling everyone he's at the top of the tree here in his orchard.
Your referee in charge of the action, Capital Wrestling Senior Official, Mr. Michael Keener. Introducing first, fighting out of Butte, Montana, Ken Dixon! And his opponent, fighting out of the Rotten Orchard, he is the current reigning and defending Capital Wrestling Heavyweight Champion, the Bad Apple, Matt Macintosh!
And here we are gearing up for this championship match between these two men fighting to see who is the man here in Capital Wrestling. It's not just the title, because let's be honest, Ken Dixon was very resentful as a champion. He makes no bones about it. He hated making appearances here. He didn't care about it. He took the paychecks when he could. It wasn't until that title was taken away from him by Sonny Kiss in that three-way match between him, Sonny, and Matt Macintosh that he finally had some appreciation for this championship, and maybe some bitterness.
I don't think it's anything. A guy like Ken Dixon doesn't appreciate anything but violence.
You know what?
This is personal here. This has been months in the making. Matt Macintosh trying to get his hands on Ken Dixon for months while he was champion. Ken Dixon wanted no part of it, but now that he's chasing Matt Macintosh's championship, all of a sudden he's available.
Look, I disagree with you in one aspect. In this case, one aspect, I disagree with you on many things. But I don't think this is personal in the sense that Ken Dixon cares about Matt Macintosh. He cares about that championship. He's a mercenary. That's all he cares about. The reason he cares about Matt Macintosh is because Matt Macintosh is the champion, period.
This is not going to be for the faint of heart. The time for memes is over. The time for jaw-jacking is done. Both of these men hate each other. I don't like using that word because we're all professionals here, but this is as bitter as it gets, and back again to the neck.
No doubt about it. And for as unhinged as Ken Dixon can be at times, he has such a mindset for wrestling. His skill set is incredible. Again, I've always said it, there's no wasted movement with Ken Dixon, but Matt Macintosh.
There's, you know, he was the first ever Capital Wrestling champion for a reason. While it was handed to him by Matthew Ryan Shapiro, he did hold on to it. He held almost all of 2018.
It wasn't until Sonny Kiss took it away from him in that triple threat match. And again, Matt Macintosh, it wasn't until he took on Paul Jordan that he had an opportunity for a one-on-one match. Ken Dixon going with a headlock here, but Matt Macintosh flipping it for the pin.
Trying to control the body. And where the neck and head goes, that's where the body goes. And Ken Dixon just torquing on it, trying to wear him down.
And you can see the wrestling mind of Matt Macintosh. Of both of these guys, both of these two, really, the headlock going for the pinning combination and back and forth.
I think this is more about breaking a guy like Matt Macintosh for Ken Dixon. Ken Dixon is the kind of guy who likes to break people down, likes to find what makes them tick and destroy them piece by piece until his sadistic bloodlust is quenched.
I think you're right about that, and I think that's the reason he ruined the ending of that match. He took away Matt McIntosh's moment. Let's be honest. Matt McIntosh scraped, clawed by any means necessary. It took him a year to get to this spot. And once he wins that championship, Ken Dixon ruined it for him. And that's where Matt McIntosh has the problem.
Don't forget, Ken Dixon also blames McIntosh and Jourdain for him not being Capital Wrestling champion. McIntosh for the three-way dance, Jourdain for taking his spot against Sonny Kiss.
Well, it doesn't matter now. Whoever he blames, he's in the match. This is an opportunity to regain that championship. And this is the opportunity for Matt McIntosh to cement himself as the man. Look, there's been plenty of upsets in history of combat sports. I mean, you talk about Buster Douglas knocking out Mike Tyson.
Test of strength here, both men locking. But there goes Dixon.
Anyone can be a one-time champion. It happens. Luck happens. It's about defending that championship, and that's what Matt McIntosh wants to prove. Look at that, wrenching the arm there. And you can see the way he's digging his forearm into the shoulder blade. You talk about this, look at that, look at it.
Driving McIntosh back in. No man really getting a clear advantage. But Dixon slowing down the pace deliberately, not allowing Matt McIntosh to get off that apple cutter.
And the quickness of Matt McIntosh, look at that, right into the headlock. And Ken Dixon trying to recover here. Leg scissors, all of a sudden Ken Dixon, these two moving so quickly. He's moving so quickly, the counter offense between the two of them. But you got to wonder if the mentality of Ken Dixon is going to be the difference maker in this. Matt McIntosh is a fantastic wrestler, but Ken Dixon is a sadist pretty much. He reminds me of Terry Funk, a guy who had the skills as a technical wrestler, the NWA champion. But when push came to shove, what he had
on his brutal tools.
He always went the extra sadistic mile. And that could be the difference here for Matt McIntosh and Ken Dixon.
Will Dixon go that extra sadistic mile, or will Matt McIntosh be the champion to lead Capital Wrestling into a new era on Fight TV and GWN?
Ooh. Back and forth.
Using that rope, dodging the punch, but using the rope to drive it into the midsection.
And that's the unique ring work of Matt McIntosh, using every part of the ring.
The fans getting out of the way. What's Matt McIntosh going to do? Went for the sunset flip, powerbomb, couldn't get it. Dixon fighting it off. Caught the knee, gets him out. McIntosh going to fly again. Baseball slide.
And Matt McIntosh showing he's no slouch at creating chaos either, using every part of this arena.
And the fans here behind the champion in his first title defense.
You want to talk about that extra gear. Maybe
Springboard looking for it. Was going for that apple slicer, but couldn't get it. Countered by Dixon. Both of these men know each other so well. They take their preparation very seriously. Hanging him up on that top rope. Boot to the back of the head. That neck that he's been torquing this whole time, trying to break down McIntosh. Cover here. 2 count only, says senior official Mike Keener for this Capital Wrestling Championship matchup.
Ken Dixon upset with the count here, but now finds himself in a great position here to begin working on Matt McIntosh.
And now mocking Matt McIntosh's Dixon. Elbow to the back of the head.
And look at that. Look at how strong. Again, there's never any wasted movement on Ken Dixon's part. I mean, it's not just the stomp. It's where he's stomping. The shoulder blades, the back of the neck.
Both these men conditioned athletes. Look at power slam, scoop to boot. 2 count only.
And you can see the way he uses his whole body weight to body slam. You can off your body slam. but Ken Dixon uses every ounce of his body to get that momentum.
The dark heart beating with the flow of blood for violence here. Torquing. Look at the extension, trying to hyperextend.
So what are we talking about? The strikes to the back of the neck, the shoulder blade. So what is he doing? He's now working on the arms of Matt Macintosh.
Piece by piece, wanting to tear Matt Macintosh down.
Like a sadistic surgeon, he's trying to tear him apart. But Macintosh fighting his way back up. Wow.
And drop down again on the back. Cover 1, 2, 2 count only. But you saw Ken Dixon smartly cradling both legs on that pin.
That's the ring awareness, realizing he's close to the ropes. You don't want someone to get an easy pin break. Matt Macintosh beat that count, but he had to use every ounce of his strength, all of his energy, his entire body. And Ken Dixon goes back to work now on the lower back here.
Oh, he's got some bite in him!
And now mocking Matt Macintosh again.
Again, Dixon stalking as well. Exchanging these strikes. Irish whip into the corner. Boot caught. Again, this is personal, like I said. Look, Matt Macintosh has had enough. Ken Dixon not giving an inch either. Setting him up. Dropping him again on that midsection.
Not letting go, though. What is he doing? Oh, the neck breaker.
Back to the neck. Cover 1, 2. 2 count only.
Whether it's a deliberate plan, whether it was just a series of occurrences, Ken Dixon's plan has become working over that neck, working over the shoulders.
You gotta wonder, is that to take some of the equilibrium away from Matt Macintosh as he does that springboard cutter, the apple slicer? Is that to take him out of his game or maybe knock him off balance when he tries to do it? Take that tool out of his holster.
That as well as just punishing him, just the brutality. Look, I've seen Matt Macintosh, you've seen him with the kinesio tape on his shoulders. He's had injuries before, nothing major necessarily, but who knows if that's the research. And look at this.
Now both men squaring off, yelling at each other. Look at the disdain on these men. And another cement chops. Ducks underneath.
Oh, again.
To the kidney, striking.
He's like a Terminator with so much focus. The first thing he sees is remembering that back that he's been targeting.
That whole upper body, from the neck to the back to the shoulder blades. A systematic attempt to destroy the Capital Wrestling Champion.
Ken Dixon breaking at the count of 4, knowing he has still a count of 5, using every second to punish Matt Macintosh. And now
hanging him up in a tree of woe.
In a bad position here. Oh, wow.
Grabbing him by his nose and dropping him on his head.
Oh, my God.
Sadistic. And now grabbing him by his neck, torquing him back. Come on. This is where Ken Dixon loses me.
Look,
keep it within the ring.
Style. I mean, look, he breaks the count at the appropriate time. This is that Terry Funk-esque next level of sadistic behavior. Most people don't go that mile. They can't handle living with themselves, not even hurting their opponent.
And Ken Dixon saying, new champ calling a shot here.
See, that's the whole thing is this is not just about Ken Dixon versus Matt Macintosh. It's about Ken Dixon versus the world. In his mind, it's him and him alone.
Both men similarly. Matt Macintosh feels it's him against the world as well, but in a different regard. He wasn't even supposed to be here. People took him for granted, finally getting an opportunity in Capital Wrestling, having to battle and claw and build himself as one of the most popular and successful wrestlers in Capital Wrestling, while Ken Dixon got a title handed to him.
And now, that's his biggest key, his resilience. Because look, after all the punishment he's taking, he starts laying into Ken Dixon. Where does he find the energy?
Some wondered if after winning that title, if the chip would come off of Matt Macintosh's shoulder. that chip is still firmly there, as you saw with that firm forearm to Ken Dixon. Up and over goes Matt Macintosh. Got caught for a second. Both men went for the kick, but Matt Macintosh caught him.
And you can see that the two of these men are just exhausted, just torn apart here.
All of this for the prestige and honor of being Capital Wrestling Champion. And a baseball slide German suplex underneath that bottom rope. The athleticism, the quickness, the timing, and the ability of the Capital Wrestling Champion, who's now going up top, setting up for something. What could it be? Missile drop kick. Cover now. 1, 2, 2 count only. Capital Wrestling Championship match. Ken Dixon versus Matt Macintosh.
A feud that has become personal, but the two of these competitors, without a doubt, the skill set that they have, leaving everything in the ring here. I know it's a cliche, it's said, but I mean, they are going to every level you think they would go to and beyond.
Jawbreaker by Dixon has him up. Tosses Matt Macintosh out, pulls him off that rope, covers him. 1, couldn't get it. Catches him. He's got him. Full Nelson. Tucks underneath, looking for it. He's gonna get an apple slicer. He got it. He's got to make the cover though. He nails him in the middle of the ring. He's got to make the cover though.
Now, which, I mean, the two of them are spending so much energy. And usually that's the end when Matt Macintosh hits the apple.
Finally gets the cover. 1, 2. 1 count only.
Just the 1 count only. I mean, it was just too much. Just too much for Matt Macintosh. I mean, after everything, all the energy they expended, he just couldn't get that cover in time.
While Ken Dixon rolls outside, he's got to understand that there is a champion's advantage. He has to win this title in the middle of the ring.
Well, I think Ken Dixon knows, but he's just trying to get to his feet here. Again, Matt Macintosh giving it everything he has, coming up with innovative moves, going to a new level that we've never seen before.
Matt Macintosh is not the kind of guy to cut and run, throwing Ken Dixon back in. Looking for something high risk here. Climbing to the top of the tree. Getting ready for it. Oh, and Ken Dixon shoving Mike Keener into the ropes. Hanging Matt Macintosh up on that top rope. And look at Dixon.
Ken Dixon being very lucky that Mike Keener either didn't see it or he's allowing it. He doesn't want to DQ here because he could easily disqualify him. I don't know that Mike Keener can sufficiently say, oh. Wow.
And a cutter of his own from the top cover. 1, 2, this could be it. And Matt Macintosh, what resilience by the champion to hold on. Ken Dixon setting up for the Halls of Violence and nails it. This has got to be it. Cover. 1, 2. Hands on the rope. Matt Macintosh, where does he get the wherewithal?
You gotta
that was instinct.
Was it instinct? Was it luck? The ring positioning.
Open it up.
It might be a lucky situation. You build on those moments, but either way, Matt Macintosh is still in this, and he is still the Capital Wrestling Champion. But Ken Dixon
jacking with Keener. Cover. Roll to 1, 2. 2 count only.
And senior official Mike Keener not taking any guff. Good for him. Wow, that suplex just dropping Ken Dixon on the back of his head.
Driving that knee square on the chin.
Oh,
that's got to be it. 1, 2, 3.
Here's your winner, and still Capital Wrestling Heavyweight Champion, Matt
Macintosh in a phenomenal matchup, finally defeating the specter of Ken Dixon after an entire year of waiting to get him one-on-one, finally gets his matchup as champion.
And if there was any question as to whether or not Matt Macintosh is the man here at Capital Wrestling, I don't think there's anyone who doubts him now. He's proven it. He is the man and the Capital Wrestling champion.
Sitting firmly atop the tree of Capital Wrestling in his orchard. There's many things you can call Matt Macintosh, but the one thing you must call him is champion.
Fight fans, prepare for the new wave of professional wrestling. Capital Wrestling brings you all of the hard-hitting and high-flying action every week for free on Fight. From the Concrete Rose Sonny Kiss to the Dark Heart Ken Dixon to Capital Champion Matt Macintosh, you won't miss a moment from the Capital. Be sure to download the Fight app in the iOS and Google App Stores, as well as Amazon, Apple TV, and your favorite gaming console. Capital Wrestling. Catch the new wave.
Anthony Bowens, the man who did it, right? That's what you are. You're the man who ended Darius Carter's undefeated streak. That's you. See, but you have to understand, that's all you're ever going to be, is the guy that got Darius Carter one time. You see, this is a best of 5 series, but you have to understand that you aren't going to make it past the 4th, because I'm going to beat you again and again and again, 3 consecutive times. I'm going to beat you, and then once that happens, no one's going to remember or care about that first time. No one's going to care about that at all, and no one's going to care about you. See, you came into the Capitol, you wanted the best, you wanted the greatest, so of course you opposed wrestling's richest prize. Of course you challenged the All-Father. You got one. That's it. 5-tool player. This big deal. I hear about you. I read about you. You're supposed to be this impressive man, but I see weaknesses, I see faults, and I am going to use the best of 5 series format to expose your faults, one by one by one, until there is nothing left of you to remain at the Capitol. 2019 is the year of Mr. Darius Carter, and once I put you out to pasture, once I eliminate you for good, I move on to bigger and better things. I move on to... You'll find that out when it comes time to. Just know now, Anthony, that accepting my challenge, you've already accepted the fact that you're the loser. The time for change. It's now.
Are you in need of a lawyer who will fight for you? Well, EDA Law will go off the top rope for you and your needs. Pro wrestling veteran Eric Anderson has brought his no-nonsense approach from the ring to the courtroom. The New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Famer and his team focuses on business law, criminal defense, and representing members of the pro wrestling industry. For more information, head on over to edalaw.com. That's edalaw.com. EDA Law, for those in the law who wrestled, know how to wrestle the law.
This week's edition of Capital Wrestling Television is brought to you by the home of the Capital Wrestling Podcast, the El Toro Podcast Network. Whether it's Capital Wrestling, the world of professional wrestling, or the world of informational technology, El Toro's podcast has you covered. Follow them on Twitter at El Toro's Podcast, or subscribe right now on Google Podcast, SoundCloud, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher Radio, Podbay FM, or on Apple Podcast.
It's time for the fabulous finish of the week, sponsored by To Be the Man. traditional territorial move, but Jimmy Rave going for the enziguri, but Jordan Oliver caught it instead. Jordan Oliver.
Here is your winner.
And getting tagged.
Jimmy Rave.
What was Jordan Oliver doing?
That was the fabulous finish, sponsored by To Be the Man, available on Amazon.com.
So, ugly ducklings, welcome to the Capitol. Hey, how's it going?
Thanks for having us.
So, you guys are set to debut next week, and I'm just wondering how you guys are feeling about that.
Well, as you said, we're debuting next week, Capitol Wrestling. We're going to win those Capitol Tag Team titles. Juba, Smiley, allow us to introduce ourselves. Capitol Wrestling. I'm Rob Killjoy.
I'm Lance Lude.
I'm Coach Mikey.
And we are
the Ugly Ducklings! Oh, DJ Roomba and Smiley Face! DJ Roomba? No, DJ Juba on the ones and twos!
Norman Smiley.
Norman Smiley Face!
Yes.
Capital Wrestling, that's a capital CAPTIALZYX774! You're gonna hear one word.
You forgot to carry the one.
Carry the one, is that right?
Yeah, got the remaining.
So you're gonna hear one word after we win those tag team titles. The word is quack. 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 You're in this too?
All right, quack.
Quack, 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 quack.
Well, you heard it here first, guys. Get ready for the Ugly Ducklings debut right here on Capitol Wrestling.
Citizens of the Capitol, Zane Decker here at the Capitol Control Center. Now, 2 months ago, Ronnie Burton's career was almost ended at the hands of Machete Killen. Burton received 9 staples to piece his head back together. After Ronnie's unexpected return back to the Capitol 2 weeks ago, Machete Killen has contacted legal services to get a restraining order against Burton and Hot Dog Starks. What does this mean for the future of the Rock Dogs? Only time will tell. But stay here at the Capitol Control Center for all of your updates.
Get him out!